Welcome back to the Journey to Unreal, the series that allows you to experience my pain from the comfort of your own home. If you didn't know already, this series documents my progression through EToH day by day, and the final goal of this is Citadel of Infinite Void, an Unreal Citadel. But before we get into this grind, I have some major changes to announce. First off, the deadline to get to Unreal isn't going to be within a year anymore. It's being extended to 2 years. Why? Well, the first part of this is how long grinds are taking now. Just to prove my point, I'll show you the amount of time Tower of Champions Road took me. Wanna guess? Well, it's probably far off, because I've managed to take just over 150 hours to beat this. Yeah, that's bad. Especially when taking into consideration how much longer Horrific and Unreal grinds are. Along with that, my path for Unreal has changed. Before Horrific, I'm actually going to do 2 more catastrophics, my next which I'll reveal at the end of this video. And I also will do 3 more Horrifics before Unreal. Finally, I'm switching to 144 FPS instead of 90 now, just because it's kind of become obsolete to play on 90. Hopefully you understand my decisions, and let's get into the video now. Tower of Champions Road. 10 minutes of short but difficult gameplay. And it's definitely gotten a sinister reputation as one of the hardest towers in EToH. Why did I choose this of all things? Well, it was one simple thing, my raw skill. If it wasn't apparent already, I'm a bit better with consistency in towers, which is a good thing for Infinite Void, but not for reaching Horrific. Tower of Champions Road has harder raw gameplay compared to the difficulty, so this was the choice for me. For people who don't know this tower, it's split into 2 different sections, floors 1 to 4, the Prenet, and floors 6 to 10, which are the net floors. I excluded floor 5 in this as it's simply a walk to a teleporter, a break floor before the net. My goal for this tower? Get it done quicker than Shunning Excursion, as it's around the same difficulty, but as you know, it would take much longer to get this done. With that being said, let's get into the first chapter of the story. The day counter will be in the bottom right, and I hope you enjoy. Before I properly did runs in the tower, I had a goal in mind to get consistent. All floor the tower, meaning beat every floor, and complete a 2 to 4 run legit. To start things off, I needed an all jump. This was routine for each of my towers so far, and I finished in around an hour. GG bro, you have to climb that too. Now I had to complete floors 1 to 4. Before doing that though, I needed to perfect my strategies. As I went through each floor, I found out the jumps that I struggled with, and by the end of it, I was ready to all floor this. It paid off, because in just under 5 minutes, I beat my first floor, floor 1. GG. Floor 2, bro, I touched it. The rest of the first day went much quicker, but I identified 2 as a rather inconsistent floor, and it took a little bit under 30 minutes to beat. Yes, bro. GG. Floor 3, on the other hand, would show the most consistency of the later pre-net floors, only taking 6 minutes to complete. GG, 4. The last floor though, 4, was by far the most difficult, and it showed. To get past it, I had to use up the rest of the stream, and it ended up lasting a little over 40 minutes. RIP, bro. Well, 5 of course was free, and by the end of the first day, I had already done 50% of my first goal. The next day started on the net, and I was determined to get this done. Just like the pre-net, I took the first half of the stream to make sure my strategies were correct, and after that I started to clear off floors. Unfortunately for me, floor 6 would be by far the worst, taking up an entire hour of stream to finish. It's so bad. After that, the trend continued, with 7 taking another hour to get done. 8 or whatever. I probably will. While doing floor 8, I hit an important milestone for my channel. 1,000 subscribers. Bro, just 2 more people in the stream needs. Yo! GG! After celebrating, I managed to get floors 8 and 9 both quickly done, bringing my progress to 90%. To finish net off though, I would wait until day 3, where I finally completed all flooring TOCR. You make it. The rest of the stream though would be dedicated to my second practice goal, a 3 to net run. This would solidify my chances for a net run in the near future, so I attempted it for a while. I did have some pretty bad fails, and after 2 hours of trying, I unfortunately gave up, meaning that I would have to start real runs in the complete segment later. As said, my next stream was when I started to get some real runs in, so let's get past Prenet. Now that I finished with my practice, I was ready to get past the first part of this tower, the Prenet. The Prenet consists of floors ranging from consistent to pure hell, typically getting harder as you go on. Floor 1, the one that was most consistent of course, wasn't a real problem to me, as I already got past it once in the all flooring. Unsurprisingly, I quickly made it to floor 2 for my second time, and this time I gave it an actual attempt. That's what I used to do. Yeah, party new people. Passed the first really failable, second really failable pass. Yep, I'm actually going. Almost was a no. Yep, silver. Bro, how? GG! That's a 3. By some miracle, I now found myself at 3, fluking the entirety of 2. In my opinion, this is more of a break floor and more of a calm before the storm at floor 4. Unfortunately for me though, my lucky streak ended when I tried the first jump. Yeah. I was just happy to make it there, and it was good progress for my first attempts. The rest of the day I did make some close attempts, but I didn't make it back to 3. The next stream though would be a great day for me, and you'll see why. After practicing 4 a bit more and also 3 because of last stream's fail, I headed into runs and tried my luck at 2. This floor would prove to be difficult for me though, as a combination of me not understanding how to do bottom flicks and this wedge wrap made this floor very tough for me. But after 2 hours of playing, I had a solid chance to get back. Yes, finally, bruh.
I was finally at 3 again. All was needed now was for me to lock in. So I did.
That's the new PB. Oh, Muslim. Save. Yes, bruh. GG.
Floor 4. Once again, I had fluked an entire floor of this tower. Practicing was certainly paying off. But this was just the start of the Prenet for me, because floor 4 almost entirely carries this section. Though it's just one floor, it definitely packs a punch, being by far the longest of the Prenet. Getting past this floor meant first trying grueling jumps like this lodge, or this confusing bounce jump. This is my first time here, so I was nervous, but also a bit confident. It was now time to see how far I can make it.
No, so.
This was once again an early fail, but I still got somewhere nonetheless. Like the previous stream, I couldn't get back, though I did make it extremely close with this depressing fail. Even though failing the last of 3 sucked, it was great progress, and the net could be in sight soon. Day 6 provided me more consistency, making it to 2 end multiple times, and also more 3 runs, even if they ended quick. The highlight of this day though was the incredible 4 run. After some failed attempts at 3, I clawed my way back to 4, and with the extra practice, I was much more prepared to conquer this floor.
PB. Oh, bruh. I didn't trust myself.
Amazing progress, but the fail was unfortunate. Why? After the jump I failed, the floor becomes much easier for a short period before forend, which means I lost a potential forend run. It was still great progress, and when I ended that day, I felt satisfied. Day 7 had no full runs, but the stream after did have potential. At one of my last 3 attempts, I made it to 3 end. A full run was possible now. After securing my next full run, I passed the start, the lodge jump, and now was back at my PB.
No.
My alignment for this jump was rushed and suboptimal, but I did fail a rather hard jump that feels like a 3.5 stick out. Once again, I'm gonna reiterate that this was fantastic progress, as every single full run so far has been a new PB, and the next day I would get 2. As a real surprise, my first full run made it past the lodge and onto the easier section, meaning it did have potential to be a new PB.
Hold up.
Unfortunately, I failed this filler jump from a bad turn. I did save on 3 though, and miraculously made it back to 4 again, the same attempt. I also made it back to the stream PB. I just had to be fully focused. One jump past my personal best, that's all I made it. I failed getting into this 1 stud gap, because instead of pausing midair for the correct strategy, I held D into it and it made me not fit. The next day though was a very special one. I had reached the double digits of streamings now, and I just wanted to get to net soon. It started off with a really unlucky lag spike fail on 4, but I eventually got back later on. Like past attempts, I had passed 4 start, 4 mid, and was now nearing my personal best. All that was needed now was precision and patience, and I could make it. After 10 streams, I had finally made it to the next section of this tower. This was the net, and it's arguably more of a challenge compared to the pre-net. Instead of 4 floors, it's 5, with some of the most difficult floors like 6 and 8. After making it here, I was really happy and ready to push my PB. Unfortunately for me, that happiness was short-lived. Because of my lack of practice, I somehow managed to get stuck at 6 the entire run until I eventually gave up and left. This was a wake-up call for me, so the next 3 streams consisted of practicing net thoroughly until I thought I was consistent enough to come back to real runs. Something unfortunate happened after this though. My consistency on the prenet had somehow plummeted, and I just couldn't get back to where I was. Actually, most days I wasn't even making it there, and this was really demotivating. It wouldn't be until day 21 when I finally got back to the final jumps of 4 and secured my next net run.
Let's go! Yes!
Now with my extensive practice in place, I had a solid chance of getting to 8 and maybe even passing it. Very early into the run, I found myself at the last jump of floor 6. I just had to complete it, and I would be at 7.
Okay, this jump's pretty trash. GG!
This floor is another quote-unquote break floor because of this net over practically every single jump on the floor, and it allows you to save at the start of 7.
We're unsafe now. I think. Yeah, 7 is pretty netted. Bro, I'm about to hit like 100 concur. Are you serious?
This was one of the only points on the floor I could have failed, and also one of the easiest sections. After that fail, I got very unlucky on 6, taking a whole hour to get back to 7. But here's when my luck would turn around. I had passed my previous personal best, and was now safe for a while with a net below me.
Oh, are you serious? Okay.
As you saw, I had saved on the net, and jumped back to 7 start with this clever route back. Eventually I got back to where I failed. I passed my old PB and now was on 7 unsafe. An 8 run could be possible here.
Lock in, bro. Yes! First 8 run.
We have now made it to floor 8, the main roadblock of the net. This floor is very technical jumps that are extremely difficult to get past. When I made it here, I knew what I was in for and prepared to fail, but I also had a little bit of hope in me.
Yeah, I reached 9. I'm gonna pull baby dog. This jumps now. safe. Oh, are you serious?
Surprisingly, I made it to 8 mid, which was great for my first attempt. If I kept up with this progress, maybe a 9 run would come about this stream. With the help of the net on 7, I got all the way back to 8 and tried yet again to make progress.
Let's go, bro. Bro, am I trash? I rushed that.
I kept getting back though, and the next 8 run was very promising.
PD. Okay.
Sadly, I had just failed the end of 8 because of my lack of precision, and soon fell to 6 after some lackluster 8 attempts. It would take an extremely long time to near my PB, almost 3 more hours, but I could get to 9.
No! Why?
That fail and the 1 to 6 after made me end my run, but it was really good progress, and the next net could certainly have a 9 run. Thankfully for me, I only had to wait 4 streams to get back to net, and once again I had much more practice on it this time around. Quite quickly, actually, I got past 6, and soon enough I was facing down floor 8. That same run, my consistency was peak. Like many times before, I passed the difficult jumps with 8 and made it to the end of the floor.
Oh my god, we're at 9.
Finally, I was on floor 9. Because I was so consistent on this floor, this could actually be a 10 run. Now I needed to focus up and make it one.
Okay.
I had failed 3 jumps in as my new personal best,
It was kind of disappointing, but it gave me hope of passing 8. For the rest of stream, I genuinely tried to get back, but 8 was just too difficult. I was getting more consistent on net, so I accepted it as fine progress. My consistency on Prenet was almost perfect now, as I got to net the next stream after my last. Floor 6 only took around 10 minutes to get past, and I first tried 7. Along with that, my first 8 run was looking very promising. PB. I had fallen on the end of 9, but I saved. This could be my first 10 run. Due to finger lock, and also my strategy being subpar, I'd failed early on into 10. It was demotivating for a while, but eventually I shook it off and kept moving on. My next net run wasn't until day 29, and still then I couldn't break the 10 barrier, only making it to 8 mid. Luckily for me, stream 30 was also another net run, and this time I actually made it to 9, then to 9 mid, then I was nearing 10.
Once again, I had fallen at the same jump from a really dumb glitch on IFBS. Also, my new strategy still wasn't good enough. I was really happy the next day though, because I now had 3 net runs in a row. To add on to that, I also got to 9 really quick. Just like the last net run, I focused up and attempted to convert it to a 10 run. A really stupid, really aggravating fail made me lose my run at 10 mid, but I was starting to get through this floor. Unfortunately, I had a bit of an inconsistency period for a couple days, until I made it back to net again on stream 36. At this point, I wasn't sure if this grind was ending now or in May, but I kept on pushing. Luckily, that same net run was also a 10 run, and this could easily be a personal best with my improved practice and strategies. Out of all my fails on 10, this may be my worst. Why? It was because this fail stemmed from a lag spike. Because of that spike, I got pushed off the truss and fell all the way down. I didn't get back to 10 that stream. On stream 37, I'd gotten yet another net run. Now, I was getting to 10 practically every time, and the trend continued here. I wasn't certain if I could make it anywhere far, but I had hope. That hope allowed me to get somewhere.
avenge me, Kai. Do the final jump.
After 9,252 minutes, I'd completed something far beyond my expectations. When I first joined EToH, I didn't even believe in myself to complete an SC tower, let alone a catastrophic. But with time, I slowly became more and more dedicated, until I made it to this very moment where I hit the win pad at Tower of Champions Road. I fluked a good part of floor 10, which most likely saved this grind multiple hours. Officially, I have now beaten 3 of my 5 catastrophics, so I still have a long journey ahead of me. As for my next tower, I won't be beating a new hardest, but rather an easier tower to boost my skill in other areas of obbying. This is Tower of Descent into Exile. I won't get into it today, but this tower is pretty crazy for a catastrophic. Though I still am at catastrophic skill, I'm quickly improving, and with each episode, we'll get closer and closer to Citadel of Infinite Void, even if it takes a while. So join me in this road trip through EToH's 3 hardest difficulties, and let's see how I'll be able to go from low catastrophic all the way to the peak of human skill. Until the next episode, goodbye.